welcome everybody out. We're going to first have a special meeting, special session that we're going to amend the agenda for the special session. There's two items on the agenda, but we're going to have before those special recognitions from Dr. Pickles.
Yes. For my microphone. Ms. Wildgoose, if you'll please come up. It's dated May 8th, but I received a letter congratulating Ms. Wildgoose. It said, "Congratulations, Madison County High School is officially an FAFSA champion for the 17-18 school year. This means that your school boosted its completion rate of the free application for federal student aid by at least 5% by March 31st. So if you would like to tell what you did for your FAMU Day to help.
We had PSAT Day for all of our students, except for seniors. And what we wanted to do is to provide something that was meaningful for the students. So we did a rotation. And that included one session where they actually went into the lab and completed the master application. So we were kind of able to batch that. And I think that was what pushed us over the number. And we also provided a seminar with the junior college, FAMU, and Forest on that day.
So from 17-18 over the 16-17, they increased by 5%. So
well, can we get that in the newspaper? Congratulations, Ms. Wildgoose. We are so happy that the high school is improving.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Ms. Wildgoose.
Yes, ma'am. Would you like to come on up? This is our next one. I will let you tell what you're doing first.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What I've got today is basically it's my pleasure to submit the enclosed payment of $713 to the Madison County School Board. This payment reflects the distribution of the Twin River State Forest receipts for fiscal year 16-17 in accordance with Section 589. And basically, as you know, these activities also benefit 12 counties that are home to Florida's income-producing state forest. These counties deemed physically constrained per Florida State 589081 receive 15% of the gross receipts from a state forest in proportion to the acreage located in each county. So based on the 16-17 fiscal year, gross receipts, a total of $452,000 is being distributed amongst, the Florida counties and school boards. So that's the check I have at this time. So we appreciate it and I'd like to pass that on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're rolling. Roll your boat. We're rolling.
I would like to recognize, I'm not sure if you received one or not. Last week we received a goodie bag in our mailboxes. And
Somebody
Somebody took mine too.
I'm not sure whose mailboxes they were in. So when I happened to open the card, it says thank you, and it's from St. John's Missionary Baptist Church. And it says, "We know life can be difficult and very hard to handle at times. We are praying for you and want you to know you are loved and you are valuable to God and this community. We want to thank you for all you do and let you know that you are appreciated. We love you, and we pray this small gift will sweeten up your day, your church family at St. John's Missionary Baptist Church." So they gave all kinds of little sweet treats. So I did not eat any of mine so I could show you. So that was a sweet gesture. They took it out to all the schools, it's my understanding, and then brought it up here. So they were trying to think of all the educators. So we do appreciate them doing that. And that was from, Maybe you haven't looked in there. So that was from Pastor Bryant Thigpen. So, all right, now I'm ready to move on to our summer program.
All right, first item is 2.1, the summer program for students with disabilities. Ms. Webb or Ms. Agner, or is it going to be Dr. Pickles?
It's both.
I haven't been called Miss Webb in a long time.
Well, that's what it
I
says.
thought that was funny. Thank y'all for letting us add this. Well, actually, Colleen has worked really hard with the vocational rehab and the Department of Education, since January, trying to get this program off the ground, and we didn't think we would be able to pull it off for summer. Because of all of what was involved, we thought it would be August. But I think everything has finally fell into place with everything that we've had to do with human resources and finance and everything, that we can start next week with our kiddos with this program. And I gave you a PowerPoint that Vocational Rehab has sent out in the past about the program, but what this is under the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. What DOE has wanted is VR in the past has contracted with outside agencies to do this program with our students. What DOE has been asking for the last year, and it's finally taken off, they've got a department dedicated to it, is for the school districts to pick it up. Because we work with our kiddos, we know our kiddos. So what this will do is for the summer, Miss Agner we'll need two teachers, and then Miss Agner, she's here for most of the summer anyway, she's 11 months, would work to just oversee it. We'd bring the kiddos in summer school just like everybody else, and it works on them with pre-employment, workforce, getting ready for the job force, things like that. There's lots of details in here on the things that we have. VR and some other folks, Project 10 has provided curriculum and resources for us to use with the kiddos, but we get $2,300 per student. We are paid $2,300 per student. We can have up to 15 children, 2 different sessions. We have 3 weeks in June and 3 weeks in July. So that's up to 30 kids that we're going to get paid $2,300 a student to provide services to. Mm-hmm. And then during the school year, there's different programs that run. It'll have to run after school. The kids will target those students who are eligible, run after school, and we can get up to $400 or $500 per child for that program after school. There's certain qualifications that you have to qualify as a student, and there's certain qualifications to provide the services. Miss Agner and the high school teachers who have this, ESE teachers who have done this, have had to take classes and pass a test to qualify. It's really, it's a wonderful program. We're really excited. It's going to provide some opportunities for our students with disabilities that we haven't had in the past. So we're just asking that we could go ahead and get it approved so we could start Monday with our kiddos coming to summer school.
Sounds good. Any questions by any of the board members? If not, is there a motion to approve the VR summer program for students with disabilities?
I move to approve the summer program for students with disabilities.
Second.
No, you still can't hear? Okay.
Could you hear me, Ms.
Second.
I'll tell you, we have to talk awful close from here. Can it be turned up at all? Because I know that they haven't been able to hear us lately.
Motion was made by Ms. Gibson and seconded by Ms. Hagan. All those in favor? 5-0, Ms. Becky.
And Ms. Williamson, I will tell you, if y'all have any questions, anytime, just give us a call. Me or Ms. Agner will be glad once you go through the information.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I need to get mine a little bit closer. Okay, 2.2, joint use agreement with Madison 4-H. Dr. Pickles?
The 4-H would like to use, they have 2 trips coming up. One's on June 11th, the other is on June 15th, as outlined, just for bus transportation, and I do recommend approval of the joint use agreements.
All right, I serve on the 4-H council, and I know that their summer program is really good.
Madam Chair, I move for approval.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Hagan. And
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Daniels. Ms. Becky, all those in favor? 5-0. All right, that will adjourn our special meeting, and we will go into our workshop. And the first item of business on the items for discussion is 2.1 SRO contract for 1819.
This is, and I'm not sure what's happened to representatives from the Sheriff's
Do
Department.
you want to move this one down if they're coming?
I don't know if they're coming or not. They said they would be here, Mr. Ep Richardson, the undersheriff, and then Mr. Stewart, the sheriff, both said they would be here tonight. This is our same agreement that we had last year, with the exception of a few changes. If you'll notice, I still have in here bold and highlighted in capital letters, SROs are not disciplinarians. So the other thing in here, as you are well aware, we pay the 12-month salaries. If you'll scroll down to, I'm not sure the page number because mine doesn't have page numbers in there. The final figure we've kind of come up with, we are allocated, if you look at the one page in there, our full allocation is right at approximately $387,000. That is for our entire district. So that is to cover all of our public schools and our charter schools. If you look at the Excel spreadsheet that is under there, it's roughly broken out and shows you how much we approximately have. For our public schools, we have approximately $313,000, and then Madison Creative Arts will have approximately $45,000, and then James Madison will have approximately $28,000. This is all based off of FTE. So there's, depending on our FTE, with October, we could be up a little bit more than the 387, we could be down a little bit. So best guesstimates, 310,000 is what we can allot for our SRO contract. Sheriff Stewart, when I spoke to him, we will keep our 2 existing SROs. They have had 1 transfer request already to go to Pinetta, and they have hired 1 more currently, so they just need 1 more SRO to cover our 5 public schools. Mr. Hardy is working with James Madison's to cover theirs, and then Miss Bars, they will have the guardian for their school. So we will have all of our schools staffed and move forward.
But I have some questions here.
Yes, ma'am.
So Madison County High School for 12 months would be $74,000. Madison County Central, Greenville Elementary, Pinella Elementary, and Lee Elementary would be $59,000 per year. Okay, not a problem with that. That's what you've decided. But here's what I have a problem with. How many people will be placed at the Central School?
Just 1.
And that's what I'm saying. Somebody at the Central School going to be overworked and underpaid. That person at the Central School going to be overworked and underpaid simply because how many students we have at the Central School?
We have over 1,000.
Okay.
It is.
And then it has been suggested if it's over how many, 600, that 2 SROs be placed at these particular schools. And then here's the inequity, because we start from 200, 300, 400 at these out-of-line schools. And then that person at that Central School got over 1,000 students to do programs for. I just don't understand the equity in that. That's all that I have to say about it. And that person should be given some relief.
Statutorily, we only have to have the 1. Yes, I would like 2.
But see, and that's what I'm saying, but that person is earning the same benefits, salary as those people at that out-of-line school, and then has maybe 5 times more, well, maybe 3 times more students in a curriculum for, because this year they're going to have to work. So who's going to want to go to the Central School?
Well, if the board would like to allocate more monies, I can.
But I'm just saying the
let him
fairness and the
know.
equity of it. See, we don't have to allocate more money. That person at Central School, from that allocation that we are getting, should get a little bit more, and then it's divided equally between those other people at those other 3 schools. Because the Central School really, and you all know the Central School has the most students, and because they have the most students, that's where the more problems are.
Well,
That's all. I'm just reasoning and just thinking, and it's true.
The salary amounts, we're just giving him a flat fee. How he distributes the salaries,
But this is a service that's coming to us. See? So who will we have? These people are going to be overworked, underpaid, and then the rotation of that person at that central school, we will never keep a steady person who will be kid-friendly to those students at that central school. So, I mean, that's something that should be discussed. That's all I want y'all to know.
And I can understand what you're saying, Mrs. Hagan, but I was thinking, are you talking about the lessons they're going to be preparing for the students?
And the overall
Because
duties.
I realize
That's
you
right.
can't do lessons for 1,100 kids, and that one resource. But evidently, they're going to have to do something different with that school.
That's
because
exactly.
They're going to provide lessons.
Something has to be different
You can't
with
be
that
teaching all
school.
the time, and you're supposed to be watching it at school,
That's
so.
exactly, that school is due
But-
more than what they're getting. So I'm just saying, if that school resource officer will want to, but she should be earning more than the other three.
I can pass that along to Sheriff Stewart.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any further discussion about the SRO contract?
I think it's pretty simple.
All righty. 2.2, Appalachia Center Partnership for Mental Health Services.
Based right along with this same nice law, 7026, they are encouraging you to work with your community partners. Our community partner is Appalachia Mental Health. Ms. Newman and I met back middle of April, I believe it was, and Dr. Reeve talked about what they could possibly do. And if you'll notice in the agreement and in the proposal, they actually made two proposals. This is the proposal I asked them to present. The other proposal I will go ahead and tell you was for 2 master's level, and I went with the option of 1 master's level and 1 licensed therapist. So this is the proposal I'm presenting to you.
What's the difference of those two?
Well, you have a licensed therapist, 1 licensed therapist and 1 master's level, or just 2 master's level.
But the licensed therapist would be an LCWS or what?
Licensed therapists, they could go ahead and make the recommendations and could actually perform a Baker Act if
That would
necessary.
be a clinical social worker? Is that what they're meaning by a licensed therapist?
Yes. If you'll look over in paragraph, it's the first paragraph, having the 2 therapists, no, the first paragraph, back up there. They would take care of the care and management, the counseling and psychiatric services by that licensed therapist. Otherwise, they cannot, they would have to be referred to Appalachia to one of the licensed therapists.
I understand that. It was just unclear of what they were classifying as a licensed therapist.
It's,
The level of education, the master's, and then they've done their Department of Health stuff for a license. The master's level person would have to work under a licensed person,
So the license would be an LCWS?
and I,
that's the majority of
Well-
what Appalachia has, is
Are we able to find that? Will we be
before
able?
I went with this option, I did call Dr. Reeve and question whether he would be able to provide and meet this obligation. And he said, yes, he would.
Okay,
So
thank you.
that was my other question before I selected this option to present. And this meets the statutory requirements that we are required to by 7026 for these obligations that we now have under our mental health services.
Is there going to be an actual contract? Looks like just kind of a list.
Well, this is the proposal he is sending, because we just have to have an agreement, not a contract. We just have to have an agreement.
There's not going to be something in writing that we sign.
Well, I just have to add the signatures to all of this.
And I'm sorry if I'm missing it, but.
There's
are
no
we paying
signatures
money?
on this.
No, but are we paying money?
We will pay the 130-some thousand, 33,000.
Where is that?
It's the 2 salaries. We will pay the 2 salaries, the 58 and the 77. And then we will also be able to bill Medicaid for some services.
So since we're
What
paying
are
the
you looking at? Why does,
I'm so sorry. I may have
here,
gotten on something.
I'm not sure what you're looking at, why yours, there. I'm not sure what you're looking at, why yours doesn't have salaries.
Mine's coming off,
I think it's under,
mine's coming off the school partnership done.
yeah, it's,
So what are you discussing down there? Let us hear.
On paragraph 1, on the one I got off the website.
For some
Yes.
reason, his doesn't have salary
It doesn't have
figures. Does
dollar
yours
figures.
have salary figures?
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
What are they?
It has
I
been
don't-
added in blue. 77,000, is that correct?
77 for the licensed therapist and then 58,000.
See it?
Yeah, I see it, that's right, I'm not sure.
Okay.
So, but this is the option I will be presenting, we just have to add the signatures. But we will be, because we will have the licensed therapist, we will be able to bill for Medicaid for those services.
And so, they're not contributing anything at all?
No,
Okay.
only the people,
Ma'am,
only the people, only the bodies,
Yes,
boots on the
ma'am.
ground.
But this money that we're doing is the.
This
money
is
that
our
we got for the
mental health allocation, and 90% of it has to be spent, and they encourage using one of your community partners, as it states in here.
Are there any other questions?
I don't have any.
All right. Moving on to the 2.3 job description.
Again, based on this nice law, I have updated 2 job descriptions, or changed one and edited one. The first one was the coordinator of adult ed. I have now made it adult ed and safety and operations services.
Do you have that one, Tommy? Because I don't have that.
I don't have that one either.
It's under your administrative.
Well, anyway, Ms. Becky,
Content.
I would need a copy of that in writing. Thank you.
Items for discussion.
Just make a note of it, and I'll
You
come pick it
can't
up
see it
later.
because you're under public.
Thank you.
You have to log in.
Why don't we put that in public though? If the public shows up, then it's not confidential.
No, but because you have to log in. You're not logged in. So, all this, because we now have to have a school safety designated person to deal with all our safety issues, to deal with all these safety trainings and the safety aspect things. I've had to address that in someone's job description. So I have put that in our coordinator of adult ed, and then the school safety and operational services. So all the things straight out of the statute are listed in this job description. And then the other, and that's all coming out of grant funds still, so no increase to our general fund there. Then the other is the student services, exceptional education, and mental health. There are 8 or 9 additional, if you'll scroll down to numbers, and they're not highlighted on here. I think it's 33 through, no, that's
So we're
not
making
it.
that position a director.
Yes, ma'am, because there's the addition of, it's either 8 or 9, they're not highlighted. They were highlighted in yellow.
19 through 25.
I was having to scroll. Because of, and it's taken straight from statute, and because I'm adding the addition of these requirements, I'm having to add it to somebody, and I'm increasing the workload. So I've made this a director position. That person does know they have to apply for the position that's currently holding that position. So there's developmental health services training plans for all our district personnel.
So you said that you added extra duties. What is the extra pay?
I believe it was $5,300, $5,200.
Same pay scale as the principal in Central School
high school, level 2, it starts at 55,000 and change.
I believe it was like a $5,200 or $5,300 increase,
Okay.
and that would come from Title IV. So again, nothing to our general fund bottom line. But each one of those are taken straight from statute. Again, these are not things that we ask for. These are things that are being pushed down on us. So any questions on this one?
Are there any questions?
I don't have any more.
I don't have any.
Okay,
I don't
we
believe
will
in
move
overworking
to
underpaid.
audit services, Mr. Copeland, 2.4.
Let me see that one. I don't think you put that one under the.
I'm gonna give y'all this summary in a hard copy format, and then we'll get an electronic copy sent out ASAP. I just now have everything pulled together. But we're coming up, obviously, on our fiscal year end, June 30th. We've got our internal fund audits at each of the 5 schools that have to be prepared by an independent CPA. And Dr. Pickles and I have looked back at the prior 3 years and have been pleased with the audit services, but we've had a little concern with the turnaround time. It causes a little bit of a slowdown with our Auditor General audits. And so what I wanted to do is we have gotten a proposal from Bisher and Company, who is our current audit firm, and we got another proposal from Lanigan and Associates, an audit firm out of Tallahassee and Thomasville that does a lot of work here in the county. And I think if you look at our policies, this is below the dollar limits that we have to RFP anything out. And I've got enough experience on the public accounting side to know what's a fair deal and who the players are we want to deal with. And so we just wanted to, I want to hand you this summary, and I'll go through it real quick. And again, I'll get you electronic copies to digest over the next week or so. And there you go. But basically there's a 2-page summary. Gives you the first underlined heading, gives you just a summary of the past 3 fiscal years audits, the dates released, the dates approved by the board, and then the total annual audit fees under each of the 3 fiscal years. And that's with our current audit firm. And if you go to the second page of the summary, I've just got a simple breakout of the 2018, 19, and 20 audit proposals from our current audit firm and from Lanigan and Associates. And we, not displeased one bit with our services of sorts. I just think now, since these are 3-year engagement contracts, we do need to look at things and see if we want to consider or go in a different direction, mainly because of turnaround. And Dr. Pickles, is that, basically what?
Well,
What are you talking about, turnaround?
Turn around from, to complete the audits and get them released, Ms. Hagan? We have to have those in-house, and the Auditor General has to incorporate those into their report to get
their audit
it issued
findings.
final.
Okay, so that's an issue, they hadn't been in a timely fashion.
Well, it's, again, I'm friends with both of these groups and work with both. They're both great. And I don't know what the individual relationships were for the past 3 years. There may have been some holdups at some of the schools. I do have some engagement, obviously, with the last year. And if there is one thing we need to consider when looking at maybe making a switch, it is the turnaround time that's been historically a little behind where we want to be.
All right, let me ask you something, Mr. Copeland. And I'm looking at June 30th, 2017. You said all audit reports dated, they were November 21st. All right, now does that mean they didn't get finished until, what was the turnaround time?
Turnaround time, that, November the 21st, that's the date the reports were issued final,
Okay, that's
released.
right.
Now, they could have been released a week or two after that with the date, but that's the final report dates on each of the internal fund audit reports.
Okay.
Yeah,
What's the date that you would?
The date that I would-
Should be released.
I've looked at the statutes and I can't find anything that says they need to be released by this date. Best case scenario, September 30th, but if we could get them in October, that would be great.
So have we had a discussion with our hometown people about this?
We,
If they could get it a little sooner or earlier? Have we had any discussion with them at all?
Ms. Hagan, I have not pinned our hometown group down on that so much, no. But again, this is awkward for me because they're both great groups. I don't have a dog in this fight. I just want the reports done quicker. And I do have experience. I've worked with both. I do have to qualify. I've worked with both of these groups. I worked with Lanigan and Associates, and I've worked with Mr. Fisher. I think we'll get a confirmation on a turnaround quicker from my past experience, maybe from Lanigan's. But I think you are correct. We need to talk to Mr. Fisher and explain the situation of we need them in-house by October 31st.
He's just a little bit cheaper, not too much difference.
Yeah, there's
but he's
not a
a little
lot.
cheaper if he can assure us that he can get it by the dates that you need it. But if he can't, then it's the other
So
group.
in other words, they had the information on June 30th. They were able to do it, starting from that date.
Not necessarily, Ms. Gibson.
Oh, no?
That's the fiscal year end
Okay.
and of each school account. And just
So-
real quick to tell you what we're doing this year to speed up the process and maybe get some efficiencies. Ms. Martha Sapp, who we hired into our AP role here at district office, has been a bookkeeper for years in Lowndes County schools and at the high school. And she's going to coordinate and meet with each school bookkeeper quickly to make sure they have all their stuff prepared and organized as the auditors would want it from her past experience.
So in other words, it could be some schools holding us up.
There could be some schools
Exactly.
holding us up,
Because
but
we've been through this before with some schools not doing what they should be
they,
doing.
yeah, but then I do think
It's,
there's some other things that
Some other
could have
things
worked
too.
quicker
Okay.
on
Okay.
the other side.
I didn't know if that was the problem, the schools, holding things
Well,
up.
remember
That has been some of the problems.
It has been, but remember this past year, all the schools did they made improvements.
Right,
And
okay.
so, I just think it'd be prudent to, again, I'm not pulling things one way or the other, but this is the end of a 3-year period, and we're about to start another one, so I think as stewards, we need to consider.
This past year, Mr. Bisher picked up all the school audits for the first 9 months. He picked up those first 9 months so that he could get started on them, so he could finish earlier, and he still didn't finish any earlier. So
And
that's.
you're saying that he picked them up 9 months,
He
After
picked
9
in
months.
March, he picked up the first 9 months so he could go ahead and get started on them. So he could finish earlier and still did not finish any earlier.
Oh, okay.
So,
Based upon the information that's in the proposal from Lanigan, they have more, I mean, I suspect they have more partners and people within their firm. 7 partners and 41.
So they've got the people to do
Yeah, they have the people to do the work. Not saying that the other one doesn't, but that's a lot of CPAs to do
I doubt the
this.
other firm has 41.
Well, no,
I doubt they have 41 different people that could,
I don't know how many they have, but that's a lot.
In a fiscal year audit, this time of year is usually a good time to get work done because firms are traditionally slow, and but that's the summary, and we can, find out more details. We can talk further.
All right. This is only a workshop.
Just a thought, I know contracts in the past, there's a thing called liquidated damages. Did you put a timeline, and if they don't meet that timeline, there's financial consequences. That's reasonable, could you put that into your 3-year agreement?
You could, but, and not saying that it's just not the rule of thumb for engagements, because that's going to initiate well, I was held up because of this. I was held up
Well, you have
because
terms
of
in there
that.
that, it was the school, and it took them a week longer to turn in the report to the auditor, then you give him an extra week on those liquidated damages. So there's justice. That's just one way to kind of keep their feet to the fire for the money talks.
Yeah. Well, again, it's nothing we have to
This is a workshop.
pull the trigger on right now.
We'll study it and look at it.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Copeland, for the information.
thank you,
Thank you.
Walter.
Thank you.
All right, that's the last item that we have on our workshop, and unless there are any superintendent comments in the workshop?
No, we all go to Tampa next week.
Yes.
Yep.
Board member item, any board member have an item for the workshop? Attorney Adams?
Ma'am?
Okay, we will adjourn the workshop and go to the
Well,
review.
Miss Susie, I do have
Okay.
one thing. I am waiting on Mr. Rob Sniffen with Sniffen and Spellman. He's the NFCC college attorney. He is supposed to be sending the welding contract back. I do not have it, so that we could have discussed it tonight, and I'd give it to Mr. Reeves. We are looking at a true-up agreement. They are going to hire the instructor for this welding program. We are going to pay for the cost of the materials, the expenses. Every quarter, we are going to do what's referred to as a true-up. We're going to present all our equipment cost, all our costs. They're going to present their cost, and we're going to see the cost difference and then do what's referred to as a true-up. So right now, we have 41 students signed up to take welding. So.
And how will this be offered? In the afternoons, during
In the
school?
afternoon, and they plan to offer it at night.
Okay.
So for the community,
And we will be offering it in the day?
in the afternoons,
Oh,
correct.
in the afternoon along with
So
them?
that's where we're sharing the instructor.
Okay.
They were going to pay for the instructor, we were going to pay for all the materials. That's where we were trying to figure out how to do this. And in talking to their attorney, they figured out the easiest way
And
was to do
how many hours per night and how long the course?
I have no idea what they're doing at night.
Okay.
You would have to call the college. So.
No.
I'm-
We're going to partner with somebody, and we don't know
Well,
how many hours they're
I
going to
don't
be?
have the agreement yet, so I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know. I
Okay.
think it will be at least 2 nights and possibly 3.
Okay.
So I had told them they could use the facility Monday, Tuesday, Thursday nights. So that's how Taylor County was doing theirs.
And where's it going to be held? At our
At our high
high
school.
school?
We have 8 stations. We're trying to figure out if we have enough money to purchase possibly at least 4 more welders to have 12 stations. So, because that's the reason we have more kids signed up than we actually have space for.
Okay.
So, because you have to
That
kind of
sounds
look at
good.
your, it's a good problem to have, but we're trying to figure out how to do that. So until I get this agreement back, Mr. Reeves did say we should rent the facility to them for $1. So we'll do that. There were a couple things, and I had told them, we've had everybody trying to work on this agreement. So, but I just don't have anything, so hopefully I'll have it for our meeting, and as soon as I get it, I'll get it to him so he can make whatever changes he wants to make. But I am waiting on that.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes, thank you. Before you go into the agenda review, I'd like to mention two things to the board that are concerning to me, and I'd like to think that they are for the good of the order, because that's what I'm concerned about. The latter part of 2017, I believe it was, I addressed the board with my concerns about the upcoming need to be very cognizant of diversity in our hiring, and in order to be politically correct in 2018, I would like to remind the board that we need to be cognizant of representation. That's the buzzword now. As we look over at our table to my left, we need to be cognizant in our hiring and the recommendations of representation. The second thing that I'd like to address with the board is that since we're planning now for the new school year, I hope that we can be mindful of the need to be transparent in everything that we do concerning our children. And I'm alluding to a competitive event that was held at all the schools, and then there was a district level competition. I was at the central school when a parent was noticeably very upset about something, and he just happened to be one of my former students and a member of my church covering. I know this young man very well. He is a single parent, and as a male, he is doing an outstanding job with his daughter. And he was upset because of the competition and the rules were not clear. He didn't understand, and nobody at the school level could explain it to him so that he could understand it. So I went in and tried to comprehend what was going on, and it seems like the rules were changed at the last minute, obviously at the district level, and the school administrators were not aware of what was going on in a timely manner, so that they could have notified the parents, and therefore we had hurt feelings. But it's my understanding that we have schools district-wide that are K-5. The rules should apply to all our schools K-5, including the central school K-5. They should be the same. Now, I also would like to add that I was a judge, and Tommy Goldstein was a judge on the spelling bee competition. And we, as a group, we were all former employees, teachers, administrators, whatnot. We met several times prior to the spelling bee, and we made sure the rules were clear and we understood everything to the letter as judges. Then our main request was that all the rules would be written, and everybody present at that spelling bee would be given a copy of the rules, and then somebody would orally explain those rules to the audience before the competition. And I think, and Tom, I think you would agree that we didn't have any problems. I think there was one complaint, but that was solved easily once the parent understood. My point is, if the rules are clear and they're in writing, that's your safeguard. We're a public school, we're steadily losing students because parents feel like we're not treating them fairly and equitably, so we have to be cognizant of that. And a way to do that is to make sure that we have a handbook before school starts and all the rules are spelled out clear and unquestionable. And that's all I'm asking that the board address, or the superintendent address. And I think everybody will be satisfied with that. If everybody can
follow those rules for everybody, then there's no complaint.
Do you mind just talking to me after the meeting? Because I'm not aware of what events you're talking about. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
No.
We will move to the consent agenda for our June 18th meeting.
Under our consent, you'll see we have a lengthy one, but a lot of them are our normal contracts that we have this time of year. Right now, I do not have the PACE contracts put up there. I'm going round and round. In fact, I plan to speak to Mr. Reeves to let him address these contracts. Nothing against our wonderful charter schools. She stepped out. I brought this up last year. We have our Gateway Finance package that we have to pay for. They base our fee on our total enrollment of $2,700. They do not use our finance package. Neither one of our charter schools use it. And I've repeatedly told him, you charge us for our enrollment, $2,200, not $2,700. And they said, no, they don't. That's not the way they do it. So I'm going to let the board attorney fight this battle.
Thank you.
So I can't pass that cost on to them. I don't share the cost with them. And I'm digging my heels in. I'm sorry. So the contracts are sitting on my desk. So that may or may not be on there. So I've repeatedly asked them, and the director says he doesn't have a problem. Now the business person says, no, this is not the way we do this. The job descriptions that we've just talked about, I'll put those up there unless you have any changes, but you didn't bring up any. There's a NFCC articulation agreement. So there's a lot of the standard contracts we'll have this time of year. So if you have any questions on that. There are no staff trips. Your superintendent is very good right now about making sure we don't have any staff trips coming out of general funds. So I'm real cautious about that. In fact, there was something left over from the last meeting, and I was like, what is this? But I'm very, very cautious about trying to make sure that we are able to pay for something out of a grant fund. And so hopefully we will not have anything, even this upcoming year, coming out of that. There's no student trips right now. Mr. Copeland, do you want to talk about the bus agreement?
The bus agreement is the same terms and the list documents I think we have already reviewed, and we will send out the whole package electronically. There's a few more items Mr. Reeves is shoring up and things like that, but we just need to get the resolution and the approval to get that consummated, and the buses can be delivered in July, and we have.
And they're 8.
We have put it off on the computer.
And we don't need to put it off anymore because Mercedes-Benz might not be, might not be able to buy Mercedes-Benz over here anymore. So you need to get them tomorrow.
Right. But y'all keep in mind, we still have this Volkswagen settlement carrot dangling out there, and of course, we don't have that anywhere in our budget numbers or anything, but that would be a nice surprise.
That would be nice.
All right, if that came
Well,
through.
if we get it, that's fine, but we need these 8 buses tomorrow.
We just need buses.
They're killing themselves.
How many more buses could we add if we get the Volkswagen?
Ms. Williams, I can't tell you what the total settlement would be, but it's now a little over $100,000 a bus. And that's fully loaded, the camera, GPS, everything, 77 passengers, will do air conditioning. And so, but that's the line out of 5.3 is bus.
Okay. That sounds good, but as I said,
I know
and
Mr.
keep
Johnson will be
repeating, we
happy.
need to get them as soon as you can get them.
There is our trim calendar coming up. You'll see you have a 2-page document in there that shows all our compliance dates and deadlines. After speaking to Mr. Copeland, I did propose that we add in a workshop, a budget workshop, so to speak. So if the board is agreeable, and if you would like to, and it's not listed in there, I would propose that we have a budget workshop on July 9th.
After our conversation, I updated, I got.
Oh, did you? Okay.
With the 9th date proposal.
That's fine. Well, I had it written in there under the public comment. So if everybody's agreeable to that, we will add that Monday, so we will meet a couple Mondays in a row. But that way we can go over our 2018-19 budget in a workshop format. Now, Mr. Copeland is also willing to meet with every one of y'all individually to answer any questions. But I just thought it might be easier for us to go over in a workshop as a group. So,
Is that good with y'all?
It's good with me.
It's fine with me.
When we're gonna have our retreat?
I'll plan us another retreat. We will do that again.
Okay,
Let's
thank
get
you.
past Tampa first.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a contract for payroll services that Mr. Copeland will put up there, that he doesn't have a contract yet. We need to contract out our payroll person while he works on a job description to find a payroll person. And, but this is the payroll person that's currently working and that knows the Skyward. So,
The thought is this is a temporary
just a temporary
contract to get
fix.
somebody hired.
Without getting into too much detail, we're so far along with the implementation, and it would be a disaster to stop it right now and bring in a full-time person until she gets it nailed down. And the thing is, I'll put a pencil to it, and we're actually spending a little bit
Yeah,
less
3 in a
money,
row.
the best I can tell, than we would be spending with a full-time employee. And she's also the wife of one of the PACE implementation men, so we get a lot of, I think we get a lot of inside information and free synergy from them that we may not get. So we need to keep going like it is right now while we massage the job description and plan better for the full-time employee.
Personnel changes, hopefully we will have some new teachers that we will be presenting. They've been interviewing right regular. They had
How many
4 today, I was going to say 5.
How many new teachers do we need?
That's a shell game. That changes daily. And then they have a couple positions closing later this week, interviewing, I think, tomorrow. And then we'll do some more interviews next week. So it's just a domino effect. So,
Do you have a comment? The staffing table's not on the list, but due to some of the statutory requirements of offering computer literacy classes at the Central School, we are going to be coming to you to add a staffing position at the Central School, the middle school, to cover that computer literacy. And also looking at adding one position to revive what we used to have there, the SEED program, which we saw a lot of benefits from that. And both of those positions, the plan is to pay for those out of SAI and class size reduction.
Now, will that be on the
Yes, ma'am.
agenda for the 18th?
And then under the consent, the policies to advertise, we're still revising those policies, so I'd like to pull that because I don't want to give you anything that's not complete. I think it's 413.
So you want to pull this.
Yes, 413.
All right. Anything else?
I have one clarification from you, Dr. Pickles, concerning 4.11, the agreement with Florida State. There's 411 and 412. 411 didn't have a rate. It said concerning an allocation of 200 service hours to be devoted diagnostic and consultative services. And then on the next one, it has, through the multidisciplinary center, $400 a day. Is that for both of those, or is this contract, I mean, they didn't include a price per hour or day?
Ms. Newman?
Because the multidisciplinary center for that one doesn't have a rate because it is their student interns that they send. So that is free services to our students. The other one is if we get, we have a contract with Jackie Akers and Holly Dickinson to provide psychological services. So if we get that wrong, the multidisciplinary center, because we have that 60-day timeline we have to meet, so if we need to bring them in, the FSU will send a licensed psychologist to do any evaluations that we need, and we do have to pay them. We have not used the multidisciplinary center in probably 5 to 6 years because our girls have been able to handle the evaluations that they're giving our workers. Now, we do utilize the free services that the multidisciplinary center offers. I know Greenville Elementary and the high school use them regularly, and they are wonderful. But that's one contract is for the free services, and one contract is for psychological services for them to come in and do evaluations if we need them to meet the 60-day timeline.
Is Holly a psychologist or a psychiatrist?
Both of them are
Okay.
school psychologists.
Okay, she's a school psychologist, okay. All right, now this Appalachia Health, that's a psychologist also, right?
Not necessarily. They can send a licensed mental health provider.
Okay.
It's going to depend on what their license is.
Okay,
But normally, Appalachia, working with them for the last 20 years, Appalachia does not use school psychologists.
okay.
They use mental health licensed mental health.
Because that $115 an hour just blows my mind, because no one in the school system makes $115 an hour. I don't think.
You're talking about for Holly?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's cheap.
Oh.
Because when I talk to our
Yeah.
friends in other neighboring counties that are just as small as we are, they are very jealous of what we pay.
Well, I'll say this concerning it. You pay for what you get, and I would rather pay someone more and have an evaluation that you can go to the bank on versus a student intern that you're having to question, is
Well,
this
yeah, I understand
valid?
that, right. Uh-huh.
So, I mean, I don't
I
have
think
a-
I'm just not used to,
Yeah,
didn't realize how
that's
much they made.
that's
I'm glad that you asked that to get clarification,
That's
because
a
that was,
going, that's a going rate and probably
Remember,
on
I
the
was a
cheap
simple
side.
teacher. We didn't make big money,
Yeah.
so,
and the difference between the mental health, the psychiatrist, and the,
yeah.
uh-huh.
I'm glad you
Holly-
clarified that.
Holly's a
Thank
very
you.
reputable.
Oh, yeah, no, I know her, but I just
I would-
didn't realize she made that kind of money.
I wish that she was,
She would like to make more, but I tell her no.
I'm sure she'd like to make more.
You too, would you?
I mean, like, just a little bit longer for you.
Okay, no, I just got an education. Okay.
Anything else?
Wednesday, I do have a meeting with MGT. If we should be the D or F, we're meeting again to decide our next steps, what to do. Just another one of our meetings. Dr. Moxley will be here Wednesday, so we have a meeting at 1 o'clock, and we will meet out at the school.
when do they start, I mean, when will they be here partnering with us?
This is kind of our next step, but Dr. Moxley, which she would be the person to be on site 2.5 days a week.
We need to, and again, I talked to this all last year, we need to have an action plan, and really, by the next meeting, in my opinion, or before, it needs to be presented to us of what's our plan to clean the school and paint the school this summer.
Well, we are working on painting,
Because that needs to be,
so we are working on
Done.
the freshening up.
But here's another concern that I have, and this is a big concern. Our office right here. Do you know how old that carpet is on that floor? When you walk in there, you see that nasty, dirty carpet. and it's probably 100 years old, nobody's using that anymore. I walked over there to the credit union. I saw the difference. The floors in the credit union, oh, those are beautiful floors, and these are where more people come. See, you call it curb appeal. And you know what I'm saying? Curb appeal. When folk walk in and they see how nice and clean and up to date, and that's first impression. And then they get to feeling more comfortable. They go to looking around and seeing how old all this stuff is. And they see all the marks and the bruises on the doors. They see the floors, how filthy they are, and that whatever. But really and truly, we need to do something when you walk in the door. That kind of stuff that they got over there at the credit union. We need to talk to our maintenance person. If we can, we need to get that. We really need to do something about this office here.
I've not been into what they have. Is it carpet or some kind of tile?
No, ma'am, it's that purity stuff, that new modern stuff.
But the cleanliness at Central, I mean,
Oh, I'm
again,
sorry.
that has to be addressed before school starts. And-
Can I address?
I agree, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Today, and they started in 900 building, they're going from 900 to 1,000 to 1,100 building. They're cleaning the rooms, stripping the floors. Once they get each building closed or completely clean, they're gonna shut that building down and then move to the next building. They have inmates coming on as much as possible on Fridays. You know, if they have a blow up in prison, they're not gonna let them leave. So they're working on that. Ben is on top of that. We met, like I said, we met with them today. The only building on the middle school side that will not be cleaned until the end is the 1,200 building, because Boys and Girls Club is using that in the afternoon. Once they finish the middle school side, they'll work up the middle and head over on the elementary side. The two buildings they're using at the central school only are for summer school are 700 and 800 buildings. So they've got a pretty good plan. Also, once the outlying schools get done with their work, they're going to bring those custodians in for a few days as much as possible to provide additional help there as well to get stuff in place.
I just ask that all entrance doors be painted professionally and that doors be washed down on the interior because they're dirty. They're dirty.
Well, not only entrance, we noticed that at in the gym.
Right.
The doors are
All the
filthy.
doors in the building where children have touched the wood part is dirty.
It's discolored. and
It's dirty.
It's the oil from the
And
end.
so, I'm sorry, Member Bart, I jumped the gun and started talking, but on a more serious note, Madam Superintendent, we need to do something. If we just start with our floors, we need to do something to this building. If you go down and you look at the floors, and then you look at the woodwork surrounding whatever the floors, that stuff can be varnished and painted. And I just like the paneling, it's okay. But the woodwork, that could be varnished, that could be painted, and our floors, because this is our place of business, our major place of business.
I will work on getting some prices and bring back to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, even these floors could be waxed. I mean, these floors could be,
They've been here for a while.
These have been here for a
Yeah,
while,
oh,
and that's
yeah.
fine, it could be waxed, but I know that carpet out there, that dirty carpet can't.
We did get a quote on the carpet, replacing it for something similar that Lori and them got over there. We got.
Oh, that's where Laura at, you got that pretty stuff, Laura?
I was. I got a deal with a credit union. I about passed out when I saw both the quotes, but,
Well, our maintenance people, some kind of way, can't our maintenance people be able to do that? I mean, we might be able to hire a vendor who,
even
not
the
one of those
carpet-
contract vendors, like we give certification and other job stuff and whatever. We got these kind of people who can come in and do that stuff.
We need a building
Even the
and maintenance
carpet
program.
professionally cleaned. We used to do that during the summer where even at the school sites, the carpet in the classrooms were professionally cleaned. And I don't know that it has, because the other day when I was at Central, theirs needs to be cleaned in the office. There's bad marks on that. So maybe we need to look at that the carpet needs to be cleaned, and because again, first impressions are lasting impressions, and right now the first impressions
I
aren't
think
so
the carpet
great.
should be cleaned
But
every year.
anyway, even if it's a big sum of money, it's worth it in the long run. Because that stuff out there, we've used that, we've overused it. So we have to start somewhere. And then, stuff getting more and more expensive now, so we should jump on it now, because we don't know what we're gonna be able to get. So we need to get on it now.
Between now and when I was at Principal Central School, we were doing contract cleaning for the carpets. However, sometime during that time period before I left Central School, we were asked to buy the professional carpet cleaning machines. Yes, periodically you do need to get the people to come in, but it's going to cost us a pretty good substantial amount.
So we have the machines to clean it?
Yes.
So there's no reason that it's not clean? I mean, if we have the machine, there's no reason that the carpet shouldn't be clean.
But
I made the
remember,
notations.
Mr. Sam, we talked about help.
Yes.
So if all those things gonna be incorporated in that, we need more help.
Absolutely.
You got some?
Dr. Pickles, I would like for all the board to do a walkthrough of the schools when school starts. And if they're not cleaned at that time, then they need to be cleaned before school start. I think one of the previous superintendents before my time, she did that. And if it wasn't clean, then it was clean before Monday came when school started.
How far in advance should we walk through?
That's up to the superintendent.
So we're considering,
I'll put it
just
on
the
the
hallways and
calendar.
all that, even if we don't go in the office, the hallways, new vinyl, whatever, that new stuff that they make.
I've made that
looks so
note too.
good over there.
One thing we have to be careful about in this building,
It's
if I'm not
asbestos.
mistaken, this is asbestos tile.
Mhm.
We're going to mess with this tile.
You have
Not
to-
really.
Well, I'm not talking about here, I'm talking about in the hallways.
Yeah, but it's all on the carpet.
Oh, it's under the carpet?
I have just
Well, we better get a new building then, because they're making people sick and killing people.
We don't want to
Just have to put it over.
Is this gonna kill me in here?
It's not chipped and no dust.
Had to be replaced, the plywood was the expensive part,
Right.
Oh,
but I agree,
Well, since we're talking about floors, Sam, do you know what kind of floor cleaning machine that Greenville has?
Come out muffler and so forth.
Yeah,
I don't know the brand,
but I mean, they have one.
Each school should have a buffer, and the buffer has a brush pad on it that scrapes it.
I think there may be one that does it. I'll talk to you
Then
about
they
it.
should have one that has a pad that goes to it that will.
Why did you ask that about Greenville, Ms. Williamson?
Well, when the custodian at another school was talking to me, he said, we need one like the school that Greenville has.
Oh, thank you.
We'll find out. So Greenville's got a good tool.
That's what he was saying, that they had a real good one, and that's.
And they don't lend it out because they work with it every day.
So, anyway, I'll talk to you about the school that does, they say they don't have one, so well,
Okay, well, all schools should have a buffer.
I'll get with you.
And I'll relay it to my assistant.
They have a carpet cleaner.
Is there anything else?
No, I don't have anything, thank you.
I have one other thing. I would like for, in speaking on the released FSA scores for third grade, I want to say how proud I am of Greenville, Creative Arts, Lee, Pinetta, Central's third grade that had the 46% that were 3 or above. What I'm asking the superintendent to do is for the teachers who are excelling at it, and we have some in the district who are excelling, for those teachers to come together and brainstorm with those teachers at all the different schools, Creative Arts, Greenville, Central, Lee, Pinetta, of what they're doing, and come up with some type of outline of what they do every day that's ensuring this success. Because for whatever reason, some of these schools are having success, and we need to collaborate with all the schools to do it. And, some people may say it's micromanaging. Well, you know what? At this point, I think we need to micromanage, and there needs to be a set list of what you will do every day in this class. And I think why do you have to invent the wheel when obviously Greenville's third grade had 100% 3 or above? That teacher has it down what she's doing. And this is not her first year. She's been recognized twice, or she's been recognized by the state of being a high impact teacher.
Now, this was Ms. Tamika Glenn, not Ms. Tracy Jones.
But still.
And we have to also say, those teachers, it's those teachers from first, second grade too, prepared those students for third grade. They,
Right, but
They
the
did.
point I'm making, Ms. Hagan, is not only should third grade teachers do it, K through fifth grade teachers who have high BAM scores should come together and what are they doing to have success? And it should be from kindergarten through fifth grade, every day in this classroom, you will do this, because I think there's a huge difference of what some kids are getting in classroom and what other kids are getting. That's just my personal opinion. If not, we would have better scores. The other aspect is you go to awards day and you have all these kids getting on the honor roll. Well, if you have all these students on the honor roll, then we should have a high score at that school. That's either inflated grades or people aren't grading with fidelity, but that also needs to be looked at.
I agree with you on that, and.
But,
now-
but you have to still give credit where credit is due.
Right.
Well-
Because those teachers from kindergarten,
Right.
first, second grade, they prepared. Because if they sent those students there not knowing
There'd be
anything,
no way they could do it.
that's exactly.
And one of the things, Bart, when you go to Greenville to, now I'm not
Right.
just picking out Greenville, but when you go there to a program, they know how to behave.
Right.
They've been trained, and if there's no discipline, there's no
Right.
learning. That's basically what's happening.
Absolutely. I take my hat
And-
off to the administration, the teachers.
I sit there and I think, what's going on here? I mean, they sit and they're quiet and they're waiting, and I
respectful.
think, you're
And
good.
not saying that's
And
not
they're
going,
smiling and happy too.
it's not saying by any means it isn't going on in other schools, but the point I'm making is they are having success, so why in the world aren't we trying to, where everyone can have that success, whether they choose to use it or not, that's their, I mean, we've presented it to them. But again, they should have the choice, and again, why are we trying to invent the wheel when obviously people are having success at it? And maybe some of these teachers just do not know what to do, and no one's taking the time to show them. So if we could please look at that, I mean, I think that if everybody's on the same page, then hopefully grades would come up, because you do have schools who are doing well. But again, we need to really target the ones who are struggling, where they're given a cookbook, so to speak, that every day we have to do this. Because whatever Greenville's success is, the two things is consistency and discipline. And again, whatever they're doing every day in drilling it to where the kids can do it.
That's right. That's a compliment to
I mean,
Greenville schools,
it
because
is.
when you go out there, you can't say that the principal and the teachers are not reporting,
Right.
discipline that needs action to it. You can see that these children are well behaved. They're smiling, they're happy, and very mannerable and respectful.
And actually, most of the schools are doing well.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
But the bottom line is, I still go back to, it's not fair for, by the luck of the draw, if you're a child and you get in a classroom where the teacher maybe is not doing all she can, and you suddenly get behind, and if you're behind leaving third grade, below grade level, it's going to be hard to catch up. In all reality, if you're behind in fifth grade, it's going to be even harder. If you're behind in middle school, you know what? You may not catch up. You may not graduate. So it has to stop at the early grades. Something has to be done where, I mean, just like back to the AR, I mean, some people really do it, other people do not do it. And again, at some point, as the board and the superintendent, people can be told, you have to do this. This has to be done. I mean, that's my opinion, my feeling. I don't know how you feel about it or anyone else, but that's
I never thought you'd have
That's
an
fine.
option of what you
you're
could
saying
teach.
is correct. But
I
I'm
didn't
just
either,
saying, you have to
Ms.
give,
Right.
due respect to those teachers who prepare those students when they go to third grade.
No,
Because they prepare those students
by
too.
no means was I not giving them respect. What I'm saying is, these teachers who scored 3 or above, and they had to be doing something, or they would not have, even if you came prepared, if you're not doing what you should do in third grade, you're not going to be a 3 or above.
That's exactly.
So they had to come prepared, and then that third grade teacher had to do what he or she needed
That's
to do
exactly.
for them to be.
That's
I
exactly.
mean, that's the hard reality of it.
Is there anything else?
I enjoy going to the many awards and graduation, many awards and graduations programs
They
that
were
week.
nice. They were all nice. And I want to thank the board members that gave monetarily to the AR awards at all the schools in the district. Thank y'all. Anything else?
Travel safely next week.
What day are you going down? You're going Tuesday?
I'm going Tuesday. I have our business partner awards luncheon and meeting on Wednesday. So I will be meeting with Mr. Rodney from Ace Hardware. We recognized him as our community business partner. So Ace Hardware is our community business partner this year.
Oh, good.
So he will be recognized. So
He
you
has
try
done
to
a
say
lot
Yeah.
this past.
done a lot.
Can all of us go? Can school board members go? Or is that just open to superintendent and the community?
they invited one person,
Okay.
as Becky said.
One free lunch.
That's it right there.
So,
Will you drive safely also? And Mr. Alford will drive safely as we ride safely.
and that's
If
it.
that's all, we will
I'll be
adjourn.
leaving Tuesday also.